After all these questions, you probably wonder, why do we have to learn about creating shared values if in the end it raises so many questions? Well, as I said before, Porter and Kramer make some very good points. First, for-profit organizations are good at assessing economic value, but fail to recognize or meet societal needs. Non-profit organizations, on the other hand, are good at addressing social issues. However, they often only care about the positive impact they have without considering the cost associated with it. This brings us to the social enterprise model, which shares the basic assumptions of creating shared values. Organizations should apply the value principle outlined by Porter and Kramer to start a for-profit organization and address social issues that have been historically dealt with by non-profit organizations. In the olden days, most organizations were following a stockholder approach to CSR. They sold products customers needed at prices customers were willing to pay. They offered wages and working conditions that employees freely accepted. They paid their suppliers and they paid their taxes. In short, their only social responsibility was to follow the law and maximize their profits. Since the law was rather loose, organizations could freely pollute the environment, have hazardous work environment, use unsafe ingredients, exploit child labor, and so on. And most of all, they did not have to bear the social costs caused by the operations. If the society does not agree with these practices, they can elect government officials who implement new laws, regulations, and set penalties so that firms have to internalize these costs. The carbon tax is a great example of this. Unfortunately, organizations will use their political influence to lobby for lower regulations that maximize their profits. While not as common anymore, this business mentality is still to some degree around today. Just think about Walmart. On the other hand, we have non-profit organizations that often rely on external funding to solve societal problems. However, as we learned today, relying on external funding means that many not-profits cannot achieve their objectives without others injecting capitals on an ongoing basis. This is problematic for a couple of reasons. First, donations can fluctuate greatly in between years, make it difficult to plan for long-term initiatives. Moreover, donors don't have an obligation to continue their support at all. For example, the current COVID-19 pandemic caused hardship on individuals and for-profit organizations. As a result, many will stop their charitable donations, leaving non-profit organizations without funding. Similar to the shared value idea put forward by Porter and Kramer, the social enterprise idea argues that businesses acting as businesses and not as non-profit organizations are the most powerful force for addressing the societal issues we face. However, the social enterprise model takes it many steps further in the right direction. Ramos and Vaccaro define social enterprise as a business with primarily social objectives, whose surpluses are reinvested in the social purpose it tries to achieve. Even though social enterprises are for-profit organizations which compete in the market, they are not driven by the need to maximize their profits for shareholders and owners. But their main objective is to address an important social problem. So, while Porter and Kramer argue that for-profit organizations can create value for society while creating economic value too, Ramos and Vaccaro argue that a social enterprise should create value for society first and foremost, while also being able to sustain itself. They don't need to maximize their profits. By not relying on donations or grants, it can ensure that it can fulfill its purpose in the long term. Assuming that Blake Mycoskie started Tom's Shoes with the intentions of providing disadvantaged children with shoes is a great example of a social enterprise. In 2019, Tom's reported that they have donated over 95 million pair of shoes so far, and they are on track to reach 100 millions in 2020. By the way, they don't just give away a cheap pair of shoe, but they donate 1/3 of the annual net profits in form of shoes and grants. In addition, they also apply their one-for-one business model to address other social needs. Through Tom's Shoes coffee sales, the company is providing sustainable water systems to communities that lacked access to safe water. And through the sale of Tom's Eyewear, the company is providing medical treatment, sight-saving surgery, and prescription glasses to those in need. I should, however, say that they are currently facing financial problems too, so there has to be a balance. Yes, you want to achieve your social goals, but you also have to be able to sustain yourself. The three tables that you see highlight the differences between a for-profit organization, a non-profit organization, and a social enterprise. The social enterprise's purpose is to achieve its social mission and to be financially profitable. This means that their key stakeholder has to be related to a social need. A social enterprise whose objective is to address the affordable housing crisis needs to include homeless people and poor families as their key stakeholders. This social enterprise can be supported by, but cannot solely rely on donations to provide housing. But the important part is that it has to sustain itself. It has to sell products or services on the free market and pay its employees and suppliers. While the goal of this organization is to be profitable, it also has to use its profits to reinvest in creating affordable housing. Whether this organization is successful depends on its financial and social bottom line. Even if they are financially profitable by selling products or services, without being able to improve the affordable housing market, the organization cannot say that it's truly successful, since they are financially and socially accountable. So, while Walmart and Nestle might be able to create some shared values, I doubt that either of them will ever be considered a social enterprise. Now, take some time and think whether you know of a social enterprise. Maybe you heard about 10 Trees. If you had to start one, what would you do? So, that's it for shared values and social enterprises. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions. And I'm looking forward to talking about your ideas soon. Have a wonderful day.